All right, so if you're joining me now, that means you've gone through the first class where we learned how to control from the waist to shift our weight. The second class where we added in hold the ball, a transitional position that we'll be using to do grasp the sparrow's tail. And now today, we are ready to do the first name posture, which is called ward off in English, or pung so. Now, some of you might not know that Taiji originally was a martial art. It still is a martial art, but now it's practiced more for health, which I'm sure you're here for. But the thing is, you need to understand the application of the movements, the application of ward off, what we're about to do, to get the health benefits. So it's not that I'm teaching you martial arts, but in order to do it correctly, in order to get the health benefit of the movement, you need to understand its application. Now, this first movement, ward off, and all the movements in Taiji can be described by a trigram, a Chinese trigram. And it's simply 3 lines, and each line is either broken or unbroken. And you can get a combination of broken and unbroken lines. And an unbroken line represents yang. And yang, if you don't know, is outward energy, summer energy, male energy, this kind of thing, all right? Broken line is yin, and that's going in, that's winter energy, receding energy, female energy, all right? So, each one of these movements has its own trigram. Ward off, its trigram is unbroken line, unbroken line, unbroken line. So it's all yang energy. So this movement is all going outward, all rising, lifting, expanding, displacing. Just like when summer comes, everything opens and blooms, it gets hot, you know, everything starts moving, it becomes active. So this is the type of energy you want to express in your movement. And I tell you this because you need to have this in your movement. You need to have this flavor in your movement, this feeling in your movement, okay? So let's look at ward off. So we're going to start just by doing the hands. And we're going to start with the left foot forward. So therefore, when we hold the ball where we're going to start from, the left hand is on the bottom. Now, in this movement, the right hand does not do much. But when we start moving, you're going to find you don't have control over the right hand. It wants to hang out to wherever the other hand is going. So this is one of the things we're going to have to overcome when doing Taiji, because these hands separate and come together. And most people's brains aren't ready for that because how we trained ourselves in life. We've always had our hands kind of in the same place. And we do that because it's easier for the mind to watch the hands if they can hang out together. But you really need to pay attention to the hands going apart and coming back together. So remember, this right hand on the left side is not doing much. And when we switch over, it will be the left hand not doing much. So let's look at the left hand because we're doing the left side first, which means we'll have the left foot forward. It will only be doing this. Meaning, a line between my nose and my navel, my center line, the palm will track along that center line. It will not deviate. It will not start to go to the left. It might look like it's doing that. That's because we're turning the waist. So to help you better understand this, I want you to interlace your fingers. And I want you to do this. All right, notice how the hands stay in front of the body on the center line. So when we do this movement, don't let the hands start to deviate out. Remember, it's the waist that gives that illusion of the hand doing this. It's the waist that's turning. This left hand is simply going to be doing this. And when we do the right side, the right hand is simply going to do this. Now, we're going to start with one hand. That makes it easier. 2 hands, it becomes more complicated. So we're going to start with one hand. And we're going to go ahead and get into our bow stance. Step back with the right foot. Keep the heel on the same line. Shoulder width space in between the legs. Left toe, left foot, point straight forward to 12 o'clock. Turn on the heel. Point the back foot out to 45. We should be getting used to this now. Let go of the knees. Release the knees. Turn the waist so it's pointing at 12 o'clock. 80%, moving the hips forward of weight in the front leg, 20% in the back. Make sure you're aligned. Make sure you're starting from the proper separation of weight position. Now, we're going to turn the waist and bring our weight into the back leg. Here's where we're going to start from. Boom. Weight in the back, left leg forward, left hand on the bottom. Now, we're not going to do the right hand yet, so just leave the right hand out, let it relax. Now, remember how we talked about the arm is going to go like this? All right? So as we turn, that's what the hand does. And this is warding off. It's lifting, like that yang energy I talked about. And when we come to the end of the movement, our hand will still be in front of our center line. It will not be over here. We will not have turned past 12 o'clock. Very important. This is where it ends. And when you're here, 80%, 20%. Hand here. Everything has to arrive on time. And how do we do that? Control from the waist. Control from the waist. Do not control from the hand. All right? Now, as we go back, this left hand descends all the way back down to under the navel. Make sure it comes all the way back down. Turn. The hand rises. Don't let it rise past the height of the chest or past the height of the heart. As we turn, comes back down. All right? Here is where we might run into timing problems. Everything has to be exact. How do we do that? Control from the waist. Relax, release the arm. Relax the shoulder down, relax the elbow down. That way it automatically becomes connected to the body. The body's connected to the waist, and then you're controlling from the waist. This is what Tai Chi is about. Controlling from the waist, and being able to separate the weight. That's it. And once you get the arm connected to the body, everything from there happens automatically. And I hope you're starting to see how we're bringing the principles into the movement, and they both have to be incorporated. All right? Let's go back a few more times. Make sure that hand is descending, and make sure your hands, your fingers are not stiffening up. And remember what I talked about in the last video about the knees pointing in the correct direction. Make sure you're not twisting your knees. Make sure those knees are not twisting and starting to point in another direction other than the center of the foot. Make sure you're breathing also. Is your head up or are you looking at the floor? Bring that head up. All right, make sure that spine is straight. Make sure you're tucking. Extend up, bubbling wells from one bubbling well to the other bubbling well. All right. And step forward. Okay, and we're going to bounce the legs up and down. Now, I want you to practice that on both sides. It's the same thing on the other side. And we're only going to do one hand for now. When you feel comfortable with that, remember what I talked about, where the position of the hand is, when the position of the hand should be up, when the position of the hand should be down. All right? When you feel you're a little bit confident with that, go to the practice video and we will practice in the video. Practice with me. Once you feel confident with that, we're going to add the other hand in, and then we'll be doing a full ward off. So when you feel comfortable, go to the practice video and I'll see you there.